Boys, UFC Nashville just finished up, and I'm not gonna lie, we did great on predictions for this card. We should have went 10-2, and two of them, the two that I got wrong, technically I should have only got one wrong because I did predict. I was like 50-50 on it, but regardless, we did good on predictions. The only ones we got wrong were Wonder Boy, even though that shit was a robbery. We'll get into it. Junior Tafa, that was just a bad one, And, Jake Matthews. I thought Jake Matthews was... I said, Jake Matthews can go out here and win, but I don't trust his fight IQ because he can win by the wrestling and, the submissions, but fight IQ is what's lacking. And, he did go out there, he wrestled, and he got that submission. With that being said, as you can see on screen, we got every single winner, including those winners on those prelims, because on this Rare MMA channel, we run through every single winner. With that being said... let's get into this main card and this main event. Derrick Lewis goes out here and he doesn't flatline, but he TKOs Teixeira, who just had no business whatsoever being in there with Derrick Lewis. I have no idea why out of all the heavyweights we picked him as the next guy to give Derrick Lewis, or why he got this main event spot. Absolutely have no idea. But with that being said, who do we give Derrick Lewis next? Derrick Lewis already did call out his opponent. We already know what's going to go down. He said some ground and pound action. With that being said, realistically, there's three options. I'm going with probably the most realistic option. Option one, all through this fight week, we've been hearing that Derrick Lewis says, he's a win away from a title shot. He hasn't fought Aspinall, so he can be right up there. We can give Derrick Lewis Tom Aspinall. That's a possibility. Or possibility number two is we give him like a number one contender fight with someone that he's already fought to and I think lost to. He can either fight a Volkov, who's ranked number 2 right now, but I don't see that happening. They can run this one back, or they could do something like a Sergey Pavlovich after the Waldo Cortes Acosta fight. They could run that one next, or they can just do a fresh matchup, which I think is going to be next. I have no idea how these two guys haven't fought each other yet, but I think Derrick Lewis, Marcin Tybura is next. It makes sense in the ranking wise. Derrick Lewis took literally a thumb to the eye, and that's it damage wise. He did more damage to his own leg while doing some ground and pound and missing and hitting his own leg than Teixeira actually did to him. So with that being said, let's do this one next. It makes sense. Let's move down to this motherfucker Gabriel Bonfim robbing my boy Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy clearly won round 2 and 3. And to be honest, there might be an argument to be made that it was a 30-27 card. But that being said, have no idea why the judges gave Gabriel Bonfim that fight. It is what it is. Because of your sins, you're going to have to repay. And you're going to have to repay by fighting Carlos Prates after he fights Jeff Neal. So run this one next. Hopefully Prates goes out here and flatlines my boy Bonfim for robbing Wonder Boy. Absolutely diabolical from Bonfim. But let's keep moving down. Steve Garcia had a 3-round war with Calvin Kattar. It was a good fight. Round 1, Kattar started pretty slow. Round 2, Kattar started to pick things up a little bit, but Garcia was just finding the openings way more in round 2. Then round 3, he almost got that KO win, but it just wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to continue that KO streak. He hurt Calvin Kattar bad, dropped him. It just wasn't meant to be. With that being said, he called out a few guys. I think Yusuf Zalal is a good next up matchup. He called out Yusuf Zalal, Onama, and I believe Josh Emmett. I like this match out of all of those three. Run this one next, and it does help figure out some of the problems because people are trying to match up Yusuf Zalal and they keep giving him, David Onama. Those two are training buddies or something, and they don't want to fight each other. It's like a Marab or Aldo situation all over again. So give him Steve Garcia. That being said, Morgan Charriere absolutely fucking killed my boy Nate the Train. It was hard. It was a hard watch. Nate the Train was doing very good up until he got caught and put away. It was sad to see my boy get slumped out like that, but it is what it is. Morgan Charriere. Who do we give him next? I think we give him the prospect killer, Christian Rodriguez. Now, is Charriere much of a prospect? I don't think so. I wouldn't classify him as a prospect, but yeah, run this one next. It makes sense ranking-wise. Maybe doesn't make sense time schedule-wise, but is anyone really in that much of a need to see Christian Rodriguez fight anytime soon? Not really. We can let him wait out until Morgan Charriere is healed up from that war with Nate the Train, because he was getting hit quite a bit, but yeah, Nate the Train arguably was on his way to winning a decision up until he got slammed out, but it is what it is. Let's keep moving down. Petrino looked really good out there. First round, easy submission, by far one of the easier performance he's had in his career. And again, I've been saying it, Austen Lane just isn't good. My prediction was I wasn't fully sure how Petrino would look at heavyweight. This dude looks like a fucking unit at heavyweight. And I just said Lane is trash and has no chin. He didn't chin him. He just easily submitted his ass. We gave Petrino a smaller heavyweight. Let's give him a bigger heavyweight in Thomas Peterson. See how well he does there. This dude's fucking huge, and yeah, Petrino looks good at heavyweight. I think it's so hard to say. I think it could be a problem because at the end of the day, heavyweight is just, it doesn't have many contenders. He's arguably, if he beats Peterson, he's one fight away, or even then he could fight for a top 15 ranking. But yeah, Petrino, honestly, probably a good move going up to heavyweight just because heavyweight's garbage. But let's keep moving down. Coast got it done over my boy Junior Tafa. It is what it is. Junior Tafa is just bad at the end of the day. I don't think he called anyone out. This was the first win in his career. I think we just give him someone slightly higher who also hasn't had the best UFC career so far. Ivan Ersland. Again, he hasn't had much success. I think he's had a few wins in the UFC, but it makes sense. Run this one next. Put this on. If we're gonna bring Tom to the UK and do a UK card, put Tuco on there. He called it out. He said he wants to be on a UK card. So next UK card, put him on there. Let's get into these prelims. We'll run through the prelims pretty quickly here because I know a lot of you guys don't care that much for the prelims, but Chris Curtis, he got it done. I did think it would be a 30-27. He just started off slow, and I did say in my prediction, you know, Curtis does start off slow, and I was worried about how he would look at welterweight. He looks decent at welterweight. I'm not going to lie. Max Griffin, I'm not going to say anything actually about Max Griffin, but, you know, Curtis started off a little bit slow, but round 2 and 3, he just had the more impact on his shots. That being said, this would be a absolute banger if we match these two out next. Just hear me out. Chris Curtis versus my boy The Leech. You're telling me this wouldn't be a crazy back and forth war? And the thing is, I don't feel bad matching up The Leech with Chris Curtis because, to be honest, I was scared to match up The Leech with anyone after he got slammed out by Carlos Prates. But do I have to really worry about The Leech getting flatlined by Chris Curtis? Not really. So match these two up next. This is a classic barn burner you could put on any pay-per-view. I want to see this one next. Moving down, Jake Matthews. I said he could get it done if he mixed in the wrestling. He got it done. Easy submission. He low-key called it a fluke. Like, he knew it was a fluke himself. He called it a fluke, but he did good. I think we give him someone who just lost his ranking. I want to see Jake Matthews, Vicente Luque. I think this would be a really fun matchup. Jake Matthews, I believe, is on a win streak right now. Let me just double check. That's why I did match him up with Luque. But I do, yeah, he's on a decent win streak right now, coming off a 3-fight win streak. So, yeah, his last loss was against Michael Morales. That was the only loss in his last 5 fights. So, I think it's fair to give him someone like a Vicente Luque. And again, this would be a really fun matchup. Moving down, though, Eduarda retired Murphy. Murphy had a classic, a trailer trash post-fight interview. It is what it is. You know, she had fun out there, but I think we do Eduarda. It's hard to match this girl up with anyone because she called out fucking Jasmine Judoviskis, who's ranked pretty high in that division. Your ass ain't getting Jasmine. That was a retarded call out. You can have Miranda Maverick. I don't know if they get Miranda Maverick either. She might get someone outside the rankings, but I don't care whatsoever. I'm not gonna lie. Let's keep moving down. Valter Walker, your boy is fucking Mystic Mac because I just predict these things. I did say Valter Walker, first round heel hook. He's gonna get 3 in a row. That shit's exactly what happened. That being said, I think we give him, I want to see some brother-on-brother crime. Not that type of brother-on-brother, but actual biological brother-on-brother. I want Valter Walker taking on Muhammad Usman. Johnny Walker's brother versus Kamaru Usman's brother. If we're smart about this, we can have the more successful brothers on this card as well. But yeah, run this one next. It's a good fight. Winner of this, maybe we can look at to a top 15 placement, but let's keep moving down. Mike Davis got it done. Ramirez had some insane rear naked choke defense in the first round. Davis had the back control and multiple rear naked chokes in round 1 from a nasty slam early in round 1, but Mitch Ramirez had good submission defense, was able to power through it. Round 2, Davis was just more accurate and just a cleaner striker. And again, mystic match. I did say round 2 KO. And yeah, we just did really good on predictions, nailed a lot of them to the T. But with that being said, Mike Davis, Joaquim Silva next. I think this makes sense. This is a good next up fight for Mike Davis. Winner of this, we can look a little bit higher up in a more name value dude in this lightweight division, but lightweight it's jam-packed right now. You're not going to get a huge jump up into the rankings from beating someone like a Mitch Ramirez, but opening up the card, Fatima Kline kicked the head off of Melissa Mullins. Do we really care, to be honest? Let's give her Carolina Kolowiskis. I think that's how you say her last name. Yeah, run this one next. That was UFC Nashville. Lewis versus Teixeira. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about this card? Honestly, again, we always say this, the cards that don't have that much name value and look like ass typically do perform very well. This was a fun card. I'm not gonna lie. This was a very, very fun, entertaining card. That being said, we got Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway next week, so I will see you guys on Monday for my predictions of that video. We're going to ace that card, mark my words. We're also going to be doing the rare locks. So if you guys have any rare locks of your own that you think is going to happen at 318, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll show your guys' comments in the beginning of that video. But yeah, thank you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in my next video.